Hey students, today is Tuesday, January 12th, and today we will be learning about lesson 23, enlarging the yard, And once again, I've included a copy of the multiplication table here so that you can use it if you need to during this lesson. And on the next two slides, I have a place for you to insert a picture of your work. So if you are doing work in your notebook or in your math binder, you have to take a picture of your work and insert a picture of your work into the slides. Your teacher needs to see your work. Our learning target: I can find dimensions of a rectangle with fixed area and perimeter. I can find dimensions of a rectangle with fixed area and perimeter. And our essential question for this unit remains the same. Why is it important to approach problems using a variety of strategies? How is multiplication related to area? Is division related to area too? So I want you to pause the video and write these questions down. I want you to jot down, write the questions down and put the answers in your notebook. Write the questions down and also put your answers in your notebook. All right, so on our next slide here, it is a Jamboard activity, enlarging the yard is the name of it. Now, this is going to be the same as page number 110 in your binder. So this is the same as the page 110 in your binder. Now, just remember, if you are doing, you're going to have a choice about whether you want to do the work on the Jamboard or in your binder. But either way, your teacher is going to have to see your work. So if you're doing the work in the Jamboard, there's no need for you to take a picture of your work because we'll automatically be able to see your work on the Jamboard. But if you're doing your work on page 110, then you have to take a picture of your work and insert a picture of your work into one of the previous slides that I show you that it says insert a picture of your work here. Okay, so I'm going to show you which Jamboard we're working on now. So this is the Jamboard that you should have up right now. And again, it's the same as page 110. Now, there are two different parts to this. Part 1 says, currently you have a rectangular yard that has a perimeter of 72 meters. The current area is between 300 and 350 meters. So the area is, of course, is the area on the inside of a figure. And they give you the data for that one. And the dimensions show that it's between 300 and 350 meters. And the perimeter is already set at 72 meters. So what are the dimensions of your current fenced-in space? So what are the dimensions for the space? Of course, perimeter is the exterior. So the area on the outside, what are the dimensions going to be? And down here at the bottom it says explain your reasoning. So you're going to type in here and type your answer in right here. So that's part 1. Part 2, in order to have more space to play, your parents decide that they want to extend both dimensions by 5 meters. So they're going to extend both dimensions. That means they're going to extend the length and the width by 5 meters. What are the new dimensions of your yard? What is the new perimeter? What is the new area? So here's a place for you to put your perimeter right here, and you click in and put your area right here after you figured it out. And over here, type inside here, and you can explain your reasoning using complete sentences. And it was just those 1 and 2. Now you've got some grid paper that you can work with right here. There's some grid paper right here on slide number 3. Now, if you're doing it in your book, there's also grid paper on page 111. So there's also grid paper on page 111 that you can work with to help you. So we're going to pause our video, and I want you to work on these. So pause the video, and I want you to work on part 1 and part 2. All right, so you've had an opportunity to work on those. So now I'm going to show you my answer key and a possible solution to it. And remember, the the current area has to be between 300 and 350 square meters. Anywhere in between there. Anywhere in between 300 and 350. So I've chosen an area of 320 square meters. And how do I get that? I have my length as 20 and my width as 16. So my length is 20 and my width is 16. So when I do the area times the length times the width, I will get 320 if I multiply 20 times 16. Now, for my perimeter, when I add all the sides up, it's going to be 72. So 20 and 20, 16 and 16 is going to be 72 total. So what are the current dimensions? What are the dimensions of your current fenced-in space? 16 are going to be 20 for the length and 16 for the width. So it's 16 by 20. And explain my reason. I knew that my dimensions would need to add together to get a sum of 36. This is because 36 is half of 72. 16 divided by 76. 16 plus 20 is 36. The area will be 320 square meters because 16 times 20 is 320. Now, taking my current dimensions and numbers that I use, I'm going to go to our next slide. So in order to have more space to play, your parents decide that they want to extend both dimensions by 5 meters. So that means that I've got to increase them by 5. So 20 was my original length and 16 was my original width. So I have to add 5 to that, and that's going to make the length 25, and that's going to make the width 21. And that's exactly what I have. So 25 and 21 is what I have now. So now I need to do my calculations. And that means to get the area, 21 times 25, I get 525. And for the perimeter, when I add up all of the sides, I get 92 meters. Okay. So you can pause the video as often as you like to go back and make any changes that you need to make to yours. All right, so on our next slide, we have another Jamboard entitled Rectangular Rooms. Now this Jamboard, just like the last one, this one is also, you can find it in your binder. It's on page 113. So you got a choice, 113 or working on the Jamboard. If you do it on page 113, you have to take a picture of your work and insert it in the slides. Now for all of these, you can also utilize our online tile manipulatives right here to help you. Okay, so if you click down here on these tiles, and we've done this before with our math work, all you have to do is drag and drop. So if you're trying to make maybe a 3 by 4 rectangle with an area of 12, all you would have to do is just drag and drop them down here. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish out, make my 3 by 4. So this one has an area of 12. Okay, so 3 columns and 4 rows is what I have. So you can practice using this. And again, all you have to do is click on the online color tiles right here. And you can always come back to this, whichever Jamboard you're working on, come back to it if, you know, you can use it to help you if need be. So which Jamboard are we using right now that looks just like page 113? So this is our next Jamboard, and this is one titled Rectangular Rooms, and it looks just like page 113 in your binder. So it's the same as page 113 in your binder. So you are a junior architect and must design 2 rooms for a floor plan in a house with the builder. The criteria you must work with is below. Make a model drawing or use grid paper that's on slide number 3. So you can use the grid paper on slide number 3 and use an equation to solve for the unknown. Label the dimensions and be ready to explain your solution. When we say label the dimension, guys, that means you need to be able to write down what is the length, what is the width, what is the length here and what is the width here. So I need to know what your dimensions are, what the numbers are each time. Room 1, shaped like a rectangle, which we've already got a rectangle down here. Have an area of 32 square feet, so that's already been done for you. So the area is already written in here. Have a length 4 feet more than its width. So the length, which is right here, has to be 4 feet more than what you have for the width over here. All right, so down here is where you're going to type your length in, and you're going to type your width right here. Okay, so you can label your dimensions by putting them right here for me. So that's the first one. Now, on the second one, room 2, you are a junior architect and must design 2 rooms for a floor plan in a house with the builder. The criteria you must work with is below. Make a model drawing or use the grid paper on the next slide and use an equation to solve for the unknown. Label the dimensions and be ready to explain your solutions. But room 2 is shaped like a square. Now here's a square. Now one thing to keep in mind about a square is all of the sides are the same size with a square. Now room 2 must have a perimeter, the same perimeter of room 1. So the perimeter has to be the same as what you have up here. Okay, so whatever your perimeter was with here, it has to be the same right here. And this is where you type in your perimeter and your length. And I want you to pause the video and to work on these 2 problems. And on that third one, this is the grid paper. And remember, if you wanted to work with the tiles, you just go back to our slides and click on the link for our slides. You've had an opportunity to complete the rectangular room slide, or the same as page 113. So I'm going to share with you my answers. And remember, it has an area of, the first one has an area of 32 square feet. That means that when you multiply the length times the width, it has to equal up to be 32. There were different possibilities, but one other criteria, the length has to be 4 feet more than its width. It has to be 4 feet more. So what I have determined is that the length should be 8 and the width should be 4, and the difference between these two is 4. So that means that the length is 4 feet more than the actual width. Okay, and one way that I could determine, when I was given the actual area of 32, all I need to do is divide 32 divided by 8, and I know that would give me my width of 4 feet. And let's go on and go to our next one here. This one's shaped like a square. Remember, all the sides have to be the same. So if all of the sides are the same, you got 36 square feet, and has to have the same perimeter of room 1. So when we go back to room 1, the perimeter is 24 feet. So the perimeter has to be 24 feet. So let's see, if we add up all these sides, 6, 6, 6, and 6, you get a total of 24. And that satisfies the criteria that's listed over here. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to and go back and make corrections to yours. Okay, so on our next slide, this is going to be your independent practice. And this one also, you have an option. It's on a Jamboard, but it's also the same as page 109. So it's on a Jamboard, but it's also the same as page 109. And I'll show you which Jamboard. So the title of the Jamboard is Additional Area and Perimeter. And again, it's the same as page 109. Complete this one. And you got a second one that's on here. And that's just the middle part of page 109. And on the last slide on the Jamboard, this is just the bottom of page 109. This is just the bottom of page 109. I just couldn't put them all on the same Jamboard, just split them all up. But this is just one page worth of work, but it's been divided up into 3 different sections here on the Jamboard. So that's going to be your independent work for today. So on our last slide, this is just a reminder of what you need to do for your work, for your independent work. So you need to complete the independent work that's on the Jamboards, the previous two Jamboards, which are also page 113 and 109. So if you do page 113 in the binder or 109 in the binder, make sure you insert a picture of your work there into our slides. Also, when you finish that, make sure to do 15 minutes of Dreambox and work on Khan Academy for 15 minutes. There are some area and perimeter problems that have been assigned to you by your teacher. So make sure to get more practice on that too.